We're still looking at losses across the board, at least when it comes to the major averages. All three of the major averages in the red right now, all off just around 0.33%, although you can see the NASDAQ flirting with positive territory. Sector action-wise, the worst performing sectors so far today, healthcare, energy, and materials. Dave.
Inflation up, gas prices up, home prices up. President Biden's approval rating, you guessed it, way down. Today, POTUS putting his plan to paper in the Wall Street Journal to tackle inflation. Yahoo Finance senior columnist Rick Newman here to discuss. Rick, Biden is attempting to sell this as a strong economy, that he wrote in the Wall Street Journal that we are coming at this from a position of strength. What's the disconnect? Because the numbers are at an all-time low for the president on the economy and on inflation.
Gas prices are the disconnect. I mean, inflation is Biden's biggest problem. The most visible element of inflation right now is gas prices. There are actually some signs that we could see most categories of prices inflation moderating. We're seeing evidence that some of these supply chain snafus are finally unwinding. I've started to see some evidence that the semiconductor shortage is easing. I mean, these have been things driving up prices. And also, all that stimulus money from last year, from actually the last 2 years, that's all running out. But gas prices and energy in general is the one thing where this is not happening. So I think one of the things President Biden is trying to do is basically distract people from gas prices and say there's a lot of other stuff going on that's good. The job market remains strong. Biden pointed out the U.S. economy has rebounded more, and it seems to have a more lasting recovery than just about any other country in the world. I mean, look at what a mess China's in right now. But I just don't think he can. I think he's going to just have a very hard time changing the narrative, because when people see gas prices that start with a 4 and in some cases a 5, that just tells them something's wrong.
Rick, when we talk about changing the messaging, I guess the question is whether or not this is enough. If going and writing an op-ed in the Wall Street Journal, if that's the first step in changing the narrative, was there anything in there that made you think that he would be able to get a hold of Americans' attention in the way that he hasn't been able to in the last couple of months?
I think messaging battles generally fail. I mean, if you think the problem is messaging, that means there's some fundamental problem, and you can't just persuade people to see it differently through a messaging campaign. But we are going to get a messaging campaign. So the White House has basically spelled this out. Biden and his top advisors, the Secretary Yellen at the Treasury, Gina Raimondo at Commerce, and the economists in the White House, they are going to be talking up the economy for the next month or so. So we used to have Infrastructure Week in the Trump presidency. Well, now we have Economy Month, or maybe Job Market Month in the Biden presidency. So they're going to be talking about this and just trying to get the message across that some things are great. I mean, the job market is still super hot. Pay is going up. That's all true. But people are just in a lousy mood, and I don't think you can talk people into feeling better. People
are paying $350 more per month on average than they were a year ago. That's hard to talk people out of. And one of the problematic things in this op-ed, and I quote directly from the president, a recent Federal Reserve report found that higher percentage of Americans reported feeling financially comfortable at the end of 2021 than at any time since 2013. That was 6 months ago.
Right.
Life as we know it has dramatically changed. So beyond the messaging, does he have a bullet left in the chamber that could actually work here?
I think the bullet is get inflation down. That's it. We see Biden meeting with Powell. We've got the picture up here. They had this meeting today. What do you think they talked about? Come on, Jay Powell, speed it up. The question is, I think inflation actually is inflation other than energy, there are reasons to think it will come down. Will it come down fast enough for people to notice? And before they decide whom to vote for, whether to vote for Democrats in November, I have my doubts. The other thing we need is a break in the Ukraine war. That could be Iran signs this deal they're trying to get, and more Iranian oil comes onto the market. There's some chatter now that the OPEC nations might start producing more. Those would be big breaks for Biden. We'll just see if it's enough.